Before you begin, it is very important to draw a measured or scale layout of your fence project. This will be a valuable planning aid, as well as help establish a materials list. Be sure to locate buried hazards and any utility lines before you start digging post holes for your fence. Utility companies typically have a free one-call program that will respond within 3 business days. Once you've determined your components and assembled your fence tools and materials, it's time to review the overall layout and design of the fence with your crew. Then you're ready to begin. As with any construction site, safety is a priority. Eye, hand, and foot protection are required. When operating power augers or post drivers, be sure to use hearing protection. Start with installation of all end, corner, dip, and rise posts. These posts will support the guide wire used to align the remaining line posts, so they must be installed first. You can either handset posts or use a hydraulic post driver. Installation will vary slightly depending on the method you choose. Driven posts require a tractor or truck-mounted hydraulic post driver. We recommend this method as it provides nearly 10 times the pull-out resistance of a handset post. You may choose to hire a local fence installer to set your posts or rent the driver yourself. Proper operation and safety precautions should be mastered before using this potentially dangerous equipment. Pre-drilling a small pilot hole in the ground with a 4-inch rock auger can ease post driving in hard, rocky soil conditions. Driven posts always go into the ground small end first for the least amount of soil disruption and greater holding power. Offset posts about 2 to 3 inches away from the direction the wire will pull. This prevents the post from pulling over center when tension is applied to the wires. You may also handset corner and end posts, but must take extra steps to prevent pullout. When handsetting posts, the large end goes in the ground first for greater stability. To anchor a handset post, first, hammer a ring of staples about 4 inches from the bottom of the post. The staples are driven halfway in to provide grip. Next, auger a hole. Then, dig an inverse bell shape at the base of the hole, making sure it is at least 42 inches deep. Place the post in the hole, and tightly tamp about 8 inches of dry concrete mix around the bottom. Next, tamp alternating 6-inch layers of soil and concrete mix to ground level. Over time, the soil moisture will cause the concrete mix to set up and securely anchor posts. You can add water to speed the process. End posts and corner posts are at least 8 feet long and generally 6 inches in diameter. They should be buried at least 42 inches deep and set with a 2 to 3 inch preloaded lean. These will go at each fence corner and major dips or rises in the terrain. Next, you will need to string out the guide wire. High tensile wire is typically 12.5 gauge, 200,000 psi wire with a Class 3 galvanized coating for long life. The only practical way to install wire is to use a spinning Jenny wire dereeler. String wire around the outside of all corner posts and tie off at the end posts. Then, staple the wire to the dip and rise posts at the bottom wire position, generally 4 to 8 inches above the ground, depending on your wire spacing. Next, use crimp sleeves and a strainer, or a chain grab wire puller, at the end post to temporarily tension the wire until it is about 4 inches off the ground or at the lowest wire position. You're now ready to start installing the line posts. These should be at least 7 feet long and 4 inches in diameter. Using the guide wire, mark post locations with paint or flags. As a rule of thumb, line posts are spaced about 30 feet apart, but it depends on many factors, including the number of wires in the fence, the terrain, as well as type and number of animals being controlled. Increasing the distance between posts reduces the cost of the fence. In uneven terrain, line posts should be set at right angles to the ground, not vertically or plumb as in decorative fencing. Line posts should be driven at least 30 inches into the ground. You're now ready to build bracing at the end and corner post locations. As a rule, any fence with 6 or more wires requires double bracing. A single brace assembly works for fences of 5 wires or less. The horizontal brace post length affects the strength and holding ability of the entire brace assembly. Horizontal braces are at least 8 feet long. Using the horizontal brace as a guide, mark where you will drive the second brace post, about 8 feet from the first. With all vertical posts in place, the next step is to measure and drill the holes for the brace pins that will hold the horizontal braces in place. These braces are best placed between the top 2 fence wires. Brace pins are 3/8 inch diameter galvanized steel pins in both 5-inch and 10-inch lengths. To install, use a 3/8 inch diameter by 10-inch long drill bit. Drill into the end post approximately 2.5 inches and insert a 5-inch brace pin about half its length. At the second brace post, drill completely through the post and insert a 10-inch brace pin. Next, drill about 4 inches into the large end of the horizontal brace post. Slide the post onto the 5-inch brace pin extending from the end post. If necessary, trim it to fit snugly between the end and second vertical post. Pound the 10-inch brace pin through the second brace post and into the horizontal brace. Leave about 2 inches exposed on the far end for anchoring the brace wire. Or, if you're building a double brace, leave the exposed pin to hang the second horizontal brace. Now that all posts are in position, it's time to install the brace wire that holds the brace together. First, drive a staple horizontally about 4 inches up from the ground on the outside of the end anchor post. Next, lace the brace posts with high tensile wire in a double figure-8 pattern. Position the wire under the staple on the end post and on top of the exposed brace pin. Pull out as much slack as possible. Next, install an inline strainer in the upper half of the wire wrap. Use 2 crimp sleeves to attach the strainer. As you tension the wire, you'll notice the other strands pull around the posts, so there is even pressure on all strands. For safety, trim wire close to crimp sleeves. The next component you'll install is the fence wire. High tensile wire comes in 2 strength ratings, 200,000 pounds per square inch, or PSI, and 170,000 PSI. We recommend 200,000 PSI wire for its superior breaking strength and resistance to elongation and sagging. The 170,000 PSI wire is acceptable for electrified fencing, but generally isn't strong enough for non-electric configurations. Using a tape or pre-marked spacer for a guide, mark your desired wire spacing on fence posts using a lumber crayon or marker. Now you're ready to pay out the fence wire using the spinning jenny.